Today I thought that I would film a video showing you around our farm. Even though there really isn't a whole lot to show yet, I thought, you know what better way to start out this channel than to just document some of our hopes and dreams with what we're going to do with the space that we have here, show you a few of the small improvements that we've made thus far, and just so you, when you read our blog and when you see pictures on Instagram, that you can kind of create a mental picture of what the whole place looks like. Now, we do not own this farm. We rent it from a couple that lives across the road. It's part of their larger couple 100-acre property. And a fun fact about this farm is that the wife that we rent from, it is actually her family's original homestead. She grew up in this house, her parents grew up in this house, and her grandparents, and we get to be part of that, which is kind of neat. They live, like I said, across the road. We rent just about 1.5 acres of yard space and a house and a garage from them. So we don't have a lot of space. The chickens are getting crazy over there. But we are learning, I guess, that we need to make the best with what we have right now. We just have been inspired by so many other people homesteading small pieces of land that, to be honest, when we first moved here, we felt kind of stuck. Like, well, it's a really small space. What can we do besides get a few chickens and have a garden? Which those are the improvements that we made this first year. We have a big garden space kind of off to that side, and behind me is our chicken coop. But we just have been really motivated lately that, you know what, there's a lot more that we can do with this space. And so as I take you around, I'm going to talk about some of those future projects that we'd like to tackle. A few maybe this fall, although we're right in the middle of October. We've had quite a few nights of frost this last week. The ground's getting hard, the days are getting really short, and we live in Minnesota where we inevitably have about 5 months of winter. So we're getting to the point where there's not going to be a lot of time to do a lot of outdoor projects, which is frustrating, but it also gives us downtime and kind of forces us to relax a little bit and just take the winter to study and plan for the spring. So I'm just going to take you around the property and show you the layout of everything and kind of talk about where we'd like to put things in the future. So here we are in the front yard. There's our house, beautiful brick house. It's about 120 years old. We have these beautiful bluffs in the background. A lot of people don't know this about Minnesota, but there is an area in the very southeast corner where we have all of these gorgeous bluffs. They kind of look like mini Appalachian mountains. The area that we live in is called the Driftless region. And it's kind of hard to see, but we have a pretty creek running right next to the house. Here we are in the back of the house, the kids' play set, our garage. So this area over here is still up for debate what we're going to do with it. We've talked about leveling it out and getting some pavers and turning it into a patio space. Although I had tried to plant some flowers here, and between the animals digging in it and the weeds, it just didn't turn out. So I pulled everything out. You can see the weeds are starting to grow back. But we think this will be either a patio space or I'm going to use it as an herb garden. I love this old granary building, although it doesn't really serve a whole lot of purpose right now, except for some storage for our landlords, and it just looks nice. But alongside of it, here we have some lilac bushes, and I need to do a little more research about planting any fruit trees that close to corn and soybeans that do get sprayed. But if we can get away with it without it damaging the trees or impacting the fruit, I would like to plant a few apple trees and a few pear trees right along in that open space. Some of this open space right here, and right here, and then behind the granary, we're going to use for space for our chicken tractors. We'd like to do some meat birds this next spring. And this is going to be some of the lawn space that we don't really use it for anything else right now because it's kind of sloped. So we're going to see if we can get the chicken tractors to work out on this piece of grass. And this space here, this is really the only flat yard space that we have for the kids to play. So they would like to leave it like that. The boys play football here, they kick the soccer ball around. However, I would like to use some of the back end of it to put raspberry bushes and a strawberry patch. And we're going to go into our little chicken coop area and the garden area. And I see you guys got out, huh? Or you ladies, I should say. So I put the chickens in the garden to peck around. We haven't really been letting them free range a whole lot because we've had the bald eagles that live down the road take about half of our flock, pick them off in the broad daylight. So for their own protection and so we can continue to get eggs and not have them all killed, we've been keeping them in the coop. But such a beautiful day and the garden's done and we're just working on cleanup, so I thought, well, I'll put them in there. I've literally spent all summer trying to keep them out of the garden and from eating my tomatoes and my squash and cucumbers, but I guess now they don't want to be penned in. So this is our garden space. It's about 60 feet by 40 feet, and we did just your traditional rows in the ground kind of garden this year. There was a lot that worked well with the garden this year, and there was a lot that didn't work very well. So we're going to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do for this next year. Our goal is to produce enough for us to preserve for ourselves and eat fresh, obviously, but we would also like to start selling our produce. And so that means expanding things, that means utilizing the space a little bit better. I'm thinking we're probably going to go more with a no-till method. I've read the Market Gardener book, and I think we're going to try and implement some of those practices just because of the space that we have, and we do have really good fertile soil. So it'll be in this same space, but it's going to look completely different for next year. And here's our chicken coop space and a little bit of the run that they have. This was a shed that we got for free off of Craigslist, and we fixed it up. This too is going to get an overhaul in the spring. My husband would actually like to just take the whole shed off, and we had built a floor for it, kind of a platform that actually is quite a bit bigger than the shed, and so he'd like to just frame in and build an all new coop so we can configure it a little bit differently. Having this big wide door on the front part, on the widest part of the shed, made it kind of difficult to situate the roosts, and we feel like we could get a lot more roost space and therefore have a lot more birds if we just build a whole new shed and configure it differently. And then we also are going to build a much bigger enclosed run in kind of this open space here, just to solve the predator problem. We'd love to have them free range all the time, but there's really nothing we can do about the eagles that live down the road. I'd love to be able to let the chickens free range. That was actually my goal or my intention in getting them, but we realized with the eagle problem that we have, that now that the eagles see the chickens as a free, really easy food source, that there's just nothing we're going to be able to do to keep them away. The eagles have gotten really bold. They actually sit in the pine trees that you saw when I was in front of the house, so just right above our heads, and they will wait till we go in the house, and then we'll swoop down over the yard looking for the chickens. And so we're not really sure how to fix that other than to put the chickens in a safe enclosed space, but we would like them to have a lot more room to run around than what their current run back there provides. And so this space behind me is behind our garage, and what we would like to do back here is we're going to build a small shelter for a couple of pigs and build out a pen so we can get a couple of pigs, preferably 2 or 3, to raise for pork. We still have some planning and some work to do. That again will be another spring project, so I'm not too worried about the how and getting it done right now. we're just going to plan at this point. Okay, so right now we're going to show you the fort that my kids have been working on. They wanted that to be part of this video too. So we're walking through the barnyard. They're building it kind of on the very back side of the barnyard. There's all the mama cows and their babies way up on the hillside out in the pasture. Do you guys want to explain to me what it is you're building and kind of what it's going to look like when you're finished?
Building a clubhouse. Kind of just making up a plan as we go.
Okay. So what kind of stuff have you done to it so far?
We've done the holes and putting the posts in. Yeah. And then right now we're trying to add the support walls.
Okay.
Which, the big board that we found in the garage, since there was only 2 of these, which I thought there were 3, we're going to use that for the back.
Okay.
And then we kind of tried to put the back ones lower than the front ones, because we were going to try and find a piece of tin big enough to fit over it, so that the water goes down out the back.
That's smart.
And then we have something like a pipe go through the wall to go in the field, so that it's not pooling up in it.
Oh, like a gutter?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
since
smart.
It's getting cold already. Just a thought about the cold, to help the cold, is to put, Grandpa has a whole bunch of insulation at his shop, so we wanted to put some of that in between the wood and the tin.
Okay.
And then in the future, maybe make a wood wall on the inside.
Awesome. All right, well, you guys keep working hard.
Yeah.
Do you love your chickens?
Yes.
What's that chicken's name?
Goldie.
Goldie. Yes, our chickens are very well loved around here. How about you, Claire?
I like chickens too, especially the rooster.
I know, he's a pretty rooster, isn't he? And we didn't even mean to get a rooster, did we?
No, but we got 2. The other one.
We did. The hatchery that we ordered our hen chicks from, they said they were all hens, but 2 out of the 15 that we ordered ended up being roosters. And our pretty gray and black rooster, which is an olive egger, he got picked off by the eagles, and so we just have that guy left they call Stripes. He does a good job of taking care of his ladies though, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Marshmallow.
Oh, we have a kitty named Marshmallow, because she's white, right?
Yes, and Marshmallow and Pumpkin kind of split away.
Yeah, and we have a boy kitty named Pumpkin who's orange, and he's been missing the last couple days, so we hope that he turns up, don't we? Okay, well, thank you for following us around on our farm tour, and I'm excited for what the future holds, all the projects that we hope to complete, and just sharing this journey with all of you who decide to watch. We really feel led by God that this farming journey is something that we're supposed to share with the world. As awkward and as odd as that seems to us right now, because we are kind of private people.
I got Goldie!
Here's my little chicken wrangler. We just really feel led by God to start showing you this journey on our little farm now. We have some really big hopes and dreams for what Provision Acres Homestead will become. And I will talk about that a little bit more on our website, and I hope to do a video in the very near future talking about that whole vision and where it came from. But we really feel lately like part of that, as much as it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to us, because we don't have really a lot to show you right now, is that God wants us to start showing you everything right now. I think that that's mostly so as things do come to fruition, as different parts of our farm become a reality, that we can point back to Him and show how that provision came from Him, and that it wasn't just on our own hard work or effort, that it was things that God either gave to us or made all the pieces fit together to make it work out. So hope you enjoyed this first video of ours. I promise that our photography skills are going to get a little bit better as we go along too. This is all a learning process for us, and if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them in the comments, either suggestions for our farm or things that you'd like us to do videos about in the future. All right, see you later.